Good morning, everyone. So we will start just with our presentation, Why on Fire Reporting Matters, here from Leipzig. And when I say we, then it's Hendrik Pieper and me, Henning Zülch from Leipzig Graduate School of Management. You see that on the left-hand side. Here is the share of accounting and auditing, and we will deal not only with reporting, we will deal with the case of Wirecard, and then hand over to the all-over topic called digital reporting, because everything is part of this story. But when we talk about reporting matters, we have first of all to say that especially annual statements, half-yearly statements are the baseline for everything we talk about in all the different channels like investor relations, and that's also true for a special part, that's our definition of investor relations. So if you have any questions, please use the chat function, I guess, on the right-hand side of Teams here, of what you can see. So again, I will give you a short insight into Investors Darling. Maybe you heard about this. Yesterday we had the award ceremony, because this is the capital market award or capital market competition in terms of communication in the German market for the 100 most important German listed capital market listed companies. And yesterday we had the award ceremony with the German Manager magazine, because this is also part of our story today. Then we will talk in short about Wirecard, and also Wirecard and digital communication. And then I hand over to Hendrik, and he will talk about the importance of digital reporting in times of COVID-19, in terms of, I guess, reporting, especially reporting and also investor relations. So, Investors Darling, what's all about this competition, and why is this so important? We have created, and that's what you can see here, the so-called RIG model. The RIG model is first of all dealing with reporting, and this is the, as I said, the one of the most important pillars of our, let's say, information pillar, so to speak. It consists of a check of the annual reporting, and then a check of the interim reporting. And on the other hand, we have our investor relations part. This consists of the IR presentation and all the things that are important with respect to investor relations, and an important part, 15% of the overall, let's say, the overall measure is digital communication. So, and beside that, reporting, investor relations is more the sender perspective, and we have the capital market, and the capital market is the receiver perspective. Here you see the perception study based on the financial analyst's opinions and the stock performance. So, and what is all about this kind of measurement or analysis? As I said, the annual report and CSR report. Yesterday, for example, we talked in depth about CSR reporting, the importance of ESG as incremental part of an annual reporting, besides stuff like Corona and digitization. And we have the interim reporting, half-yearly report, and the interim report Q1, Q3. And in times of Corona, this interim report becomes more and more important. And then we look at the information channel that's called the IR presentation, and on the right-hand side, digital communication. And digital communication means for us, on the one hand, the IR website. What is the content? Is it a coherent content in line with reporting and the IR presentation? And the digital report functionality and all the stuff to make information accessible, and how the companies make these things accessible. So to make a long story short, what we created is a kind of guideline to send out the information that are relevant for the investors, or let's say all the stakeholders. And this is clustered in 4 different levels. This is first of all management, financials, non-financial, and prospectus. Everything you as company have to talk about, especially in times of Corona. Management, it's like business model, value management. Financials, the results of your financial position and the earnings positions, non-financial, CSR, corporate governance, and the prospectives. So everything is part of the annual report as baseline and then transferred to all the other information channels. And in terms of digital communication, your website, and also how to transfer and make information accessible, follow this. This is our, let's say, experience with respect to the German capital market. Follow this kind of guideline. So it's very helpful. And let's look at the overall results of yesterday's award ceremony. The winner was Deutsche Telekom, and a really best practice in the German market for reporting, investor relations, and also digital reporting. And what you can see on the left-hand side is most common companies still lack of good digital communication. And this is what you can see when you look at the web on the right-hand side. There's one position, digital communication, and especially SDAX companies. DAX 30 companies, okay, low levels of digitization. That's what we have to say. And the levels become lower and lower if you turn to MDAX and SDAX companies, because sometimes they don't see the needs. When we talked about to them about digital communication, they do not see the need to invest in digitization. But I guess Hendrik will talk about the need to invest into digitization. So the case of Wirecard. So to first of all go back to our competition and give you an insight into Wirecard. So on the left-hand side, you see Wirecard was introduced in the DAX 30. Everyone was not really surprised, but it was the first German fintech, and everyone was really happy to have a fintech in Germany. And then on the right-hand side, you see all the troubles made by Wirecard with KPMG, with Financial Times, Ernst & Young, etc., etc. And below you see the share price development. And in 19 and also in the year 2020, there was a breakdown, a drop in the share price. And the question was, what we raised here in Leipzig is, were there any red flags in what we assessed with our investors darling? So, and these are the press releases based on our 7 years of now 7 years of investors darling, means 6 years from 14 to 19. What was the result of Wirecard? If you want to have more information, you can go for those presentations or articles. So what have we seen? And if you look at the right-hand side and our investors darling, you can see the measure or the final grade in our investors darling competition was driven by performance, stock performance. It was a high flyer. And when you look at the left-hand side, Wirecard's DAX 30 company, Wirecard, has a score of 54%. And the average of the DAX 30 companies with respect to reporting quality, investor relations quality, and capital markets reaction was 63. Low, I mean far below the average. And then we dive down into the critical things. The first thing was capital market performance. This was not really critical. The gray one is Wirecard. The blue one, the overall average value of the capital market assessment for all those companies in our competition. And as you can see, this result was driven by, first of all, the analyst perception in the early years, and then also by the stock performance. So, but when we look at the reporting quality, you see the reporting quality, again, gray is Wirecard, blue the overall, the average of all companies. It's again far below the quality we just want to see. And on the left-hand side, you see some insights. Reporting, there were shortcomings in financials, how to present the financials, M&A-based figures, perspectives like strategy, outlook, everything we heard. And investor relations, really far below the overall average. And restrictive information in the IR presentation. The storyline was not really clear. I guess that's clear for every one of us who dealt with the Wirecard. And no or just underrepresented digital communication. They had no interest in digital communication, and as DAX 30 company, this was really a severe, from our point of view, a severe shortcoming. So, okay, so I don't want to skip that, but with respect to digital communication, when we look at the right-hand side, no dissemination of an HTML micro websites, no interactive or only a few features, no usability. This was what we have seen, and missing financial communication via social media, because this becomes more and more important. We heard about this yesterday, how companies like Deutsche Telekom, Jenoptik, Lanxess, and others who were very successful in their digital communication work with this kind of social media content. So nothing that would give an insight into this kind of fintech and upcoming fintech company. So our impression was, if you are in the market as one of the first fintech companies, then you have to invest into digital communication, I guess. Yeah. And maybe this is one of my last slides, and then I hand over to Hendrik. So on the left-hand side, you see the results of reporting investor relations and capital markets over the last years in our competition. And the green one, this is that increased or stepped up in the year 19, is the performance. A very strong stock performance, and the red one is the analyst perception. And you see in 19 there was a gap between the stock performance, high stock performance, and a very low perception from the analyst perspective. And overall, a poor reporting quality, a poor investor relations quality in our competition, with a lot of red flags. And on the right-hand side, you see again the share development over the last years. So the key question is, what is the role of our competition called investors' darling in this sense of, or in this kind of field when we talk about Wirecard? What we can say is, over the years we can identify red flags. And these red flags could be able to give you the opportunity to raise questions, and we did so. So we can't identify bad companies or differ between bad and good companies. The only thing we can say is, and this is based on this correlation you see here, I don't want to focus on that again, but the important thing is what we can say, that you can't differ between bad and good companies. The only thing we can say is, good companies have a good financial communication quality, especially today in times of Corona in digital communication. Good companies invest a lot into digital communication. And now I hand over to Hendrik to focus on digital communication. Yeah.
So we come to the last part of our presentation, and this last part is somewhat split in two sub-themes. First, I will give a short overview based on the results of our analysis, how digital communication plays an important role now in times of crisis at Corona times. And the second part is about an empirical study we did here based on statistical regression models that shows that the use of HTML formatted reports is really important for the information environment at capital markets. I will dive to this deeper in some minutes and start with an overview of the relevance of digital communication in times of uncertainty. And there you see two articles coming from our chair, and yeah, you're welcome to read this in the respective journals. And what did we do? Yeah, we analyzed, as Mr. Zülch already already spoken. The digital communication quality of the SDAX, MDAX, and DAX firms in Germany. That means next to the ER website, we also consider the digital report, the annual report in a digital format. Yeah, and you see there is a trend. And if you just consider the IR website, you see there is a continuous improvement over the last years. That means firms understand that it's important to disseminate information on their website, financial information. And as you can see, the results are mainly driven by the good performance of the DAX companies. Yeah, what we did, and what is really important in the field of digital communication is to be up to date. Means we cannot only stay on the level ER website, we have to include further digital issues. For example, digital report in the year 2018, and this year we also included social media. And even if you put this new technical issue in our analysis, you see there will be a break. But overall, we can say, yeah, the firms are encouraged to do better things in digital reporting. What else can we see? Even in the times of Corona, it's really important to have something like interim reporting, to be timely, to give timely information to the capital markets. And in these circumstances, we analyzed whether the firms publish anything financial in regard to the COVID-19 and when, which channel do they need. And yeah, our analysis shows that the quarterly report is still the most important channel to disseminate financial information in times of crisis. And we think, our chair think, we have a kind of dysregulation in connection to this medium. We think even if there is something special, if there are special issues, it's good to have a regulated interim timely content. What we also can see is like the annual report, we have some different formats. There are firms that only publishes a PDF, really simple, some information, and there are some digital foregoers like BASF or Covestro that really invest in good digitalization channels like HTML micro website. And that is something we really like, and we think that is something all of the firms need to do, but also need to consider the cost, of course. And what else can we see? We identified some, I would say, best practices. For example, Airbus. If you go on the Airbus investor relations website, the first thing you consider is the CEO. If you see him, that is something trustworthy. There's someone who is really important and say something about COVID and the financials, and you see a statement of him. What is about COVID on Airbus? What is on the firm model? What is on the financials, and so on. Another good example for a good guidance during the COVID-19 time is Continental. As you can see, there's even the CEO, and you find it's called business update, and there you see some bullet points, and you see below a link to all of the relevant channels where they give information about the COVID impact. And last but not least, the Telecom AG, as Mr. Zülch already mentioned, really good best practice example. They use LinkedIn for a really timely and more accessible use of financial information. Yeah, let's stick to the second part of the last part, and it's about an empirical study we did at a chair, because as I started here for 2 years at the chair of accounting, I had no clue about digital reporting, so this was something I never heard before, but it really interested me. And yeah, all spoke about HTML report, it's so cool, you need to do this, and I asked myself, is it really that useful, or is it just something you show some merchandise or some advertise for your company? Is it just a signal? Is it really something that is useful? And the empirical setting is that we focus on European sample because we are in Germany, and even Europe is one of the most important capital markets. We select the 185 largest companies out of the Euro Stoxx 16 over the 5 years. And what did we hypothesize? The use of HTML formatted financial reports improved the information environment. It means information environment is the information flow from the preparer to the users, so the quality of it. And what we also have to consider is that not only the format itself, even there are other variables that, for example, attracts analysts, for example, firm size, financial stability, and so on. So our case is that we need to extrapolate the impact of the format compared to the other impacts. And what is really important in this context, I mean, digital reporting it's a very widespread term. So we need to really concrete this term. And what did we do? We say, okay, where's format-specific attributes like the URL or the page source, and we have content-specific attributes. Because we just want to see digital reports that comprises IFRS balance sheets. For example, we have to distinguish between annual reviews or like magazines and so on. And at the end, we identified three formats: one full HTML micro website, hybrid website, and the last one is the most unclear thing, is an interactive e-paper. It has a page source, it is HTML, but it's just like a PDF, more interactive. And the most interesting thing, what are the results? And here you can see, if you look in the middle of the slide, you see the distribution of the countries, and mainly German, French, and Italian firms drive this, I would say, evolution of HTML reports. What else can you see? If you look in the middle on the bottom, you see it is an increasing number of HTML reports published in the European markets. That means it's getting more and more important. And the main result you see on the right side, as you see on the independent variable HTME, it has an impact significant on the analyst coverage. That means if you have an HTML report, about 2 analysts follows you more than compared to one that is not using HTML. On the other side, even the relative bid-ask spread as a measure for liquidity is significantly reduced.
Okay, Henrik, thank you very much. And I guess here you see the contact information. And to put it in a nutshell, and reflect what we said yesterday in our award ceremony with respect to Investors Darling, is digital communication is one of the most important trends besides Corona and the ESG discussion. But it's an incremental part for us to overcome, for example, the Corona crisis in terms of communication. So that's very important. And we feel free for your questions, and we're happy to answer all the questions that are come in. So do we have some questions?
Okay. The first one is from
in your opinion, why are HTML reports leading to a higher analyst coverage? Can you give us an insight into that?
Okay, these considering the HTML report is based on other research topics called Internet Financial Reporting or even XBRL. It's not the same, but that are advanced digital formats. And there are 2 theoretical backgrounds, I can say. That at first we have the agency theory. It's about information asymmetry and so on. And there are streams that says if you use an HTML because of its interaction, you get information more quicker, your analysis will more efficient, you can reduce agency or monitoring costs. That is one theoretical point, and the other is it signals, also if you use an HTML report, it signals that you are modern, that you're up to date, that your financial reporting processes is advanced compared to others that don't use HTML, and that are two reasons why this result is like the result is.
Okay, finished? Yeah. So second question, how should companies address COVID-19 in their next annual report? In which sections? Also in the CEO letter. So yesterday we had the discussion with respect to the German capital market. And what we have seen is, first of all, we introduced in our actual competition that is only focusing, that's important to know, to say, is only focusing on the annual report of 2019. We integrated the analysis of the interim report Q1 of 2020. So what we have seen is in the end that maybe we can. Oh no, there's no presentation anymore. But it's no way. So first of all, how to address the German or the Lagebericht management report will be the place to inform the investors best about COVID-19 first. So remember, I talked about management as one level of information, financials, non-financial, and prospectives. So you have to explain in the management part what are the changes on your business model and your strategy to lead the company. What are the KPIs? Financials. Try to explain in the analysis in your management report, but also in the notes, the effects of COVID-19 on your balance sheet and income statement positions. And here we talked about earnings before measures. You have to introduce, that's our opinion, a special earnings before numbers or KPIs, because this needs to be, because you need a kind of comparability to the times before. There's a huge debate on what means earnings before KPIs in times of Corona. Non-financials, CSR, there will be a change from, or ESG, from ecological to social. Explain everything that has to do with your workforce and things like that. And last but not least, prospectives, strategy counts, prognosis counts, risk and rewards. These part of your management report is the most important, most relevant for the investors. And when you said also the CEO letter, definitely the CEO has to tell in short at the beginning, like not dear investors, but dear stakeholders, what is the impact of COVID-19 and how they communicate this in an annual statement. And if you have once this told in an annual statement, then please present it coherently in all the other channels, IR presentation on the website. That's what we experienced here. Okay. Any additional questions?
Another question.
Okay. You mentioned the importance of interim financial reporting. In your view, does it matter whether the company issues a trading statement or a fully fledged report? So yeah. Our impression is that a short. I hope I have it understood it correctly. So a short message, let's say message, is not enough. The people just want to have, or the investors or stakeholders want to have, a detailed information about what is really going on. This is the update functionality of an interim report. You go more in a more sophisticated message. It's like a report, back to reporting, and this is what we present in actual articles, German-speaking articles today. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
No, the next question is,
how do you measure analyst perception?
I think she means regarding the ID.
Yeah. Okay. So one part, if we have to talk about investors, darling, 20% of the whole element is based on the perception analysis, and the perception analysis is a questionnaire we sent out to financial analysts, institutional financial analysts, for the 2020 reward award. We received more than, we had 15 different institutional analysts be part of this award, and we covered in general, or at average, every company was covered by at least five different financial analysts, institutional financial analysts. And we have questions about the IR quality, questions about how they deal with CSR, how they deal, what do you think about the management? Is the management able to operationalize the strategy? Is there a strategy? And one additional question we also raised, do you think from a financial analyst perspective, they deal in an efficient and effective way with COVID-19? So this is what how we deal with financial analysts, BlackRock, and all the people, the companies were involved. Yeah. Any additional questions? No, I can't see any additional questions. I hope we answered all the questions. So an interesting thing is, if you, from a company perspective, want to have more information on how you can deal with COVID-19, we have experiences by now for more than 150 or nearly 160 companies, and the year 2020 will be a very, very special year. I don't have to tell you that. With respect to annual reporting, interim reporting, and also investor relations. So, but we have a kind of guidance because we have the experience in the German market with the capital market oriented companies and discussions with those companies. So we can share this if you want to. Okay. Anything else? No, that's not the case. So yeah, so we had come to an end with our presentation and the Q&A. Thank you very much for your attention. And yeah, if you have any other question, further question, feel free to contact us.
Yeah, and of course the share slides will be provided afterwards. So
yeah.
And if you have any questions, you can see the contact opportunities to contact us. So
yeah,
do not hesitate. Yeah,
feel free. Thank you very much, and stay healthy. Thank you.
Bye.